On my to-do list this week, I've got meetings with the book packager. I've got a client's book that is technically due today. I've just got like a little bit more work to do on it. I need to make sure that the beats and outline are prepared for the project I've been developing with the book packager, because I did find a writer and they need to get started on that. And I've got to hit 10,000 words on the Rebel Girls nonfiction book. I really need to get back to my mystery middle grade revision because I did not work on it at all last week because last week was crazy. And I have a call with a private client, a ghostwriting client today? Tomorrow? Oh my gosh, now I can't even remember when it is. But I think it's today. Anyway, because we have to finish Act 1 of their outline. So all of that is on the docket for this week. Last week was crazy because, as I think I told you guys in my last vlog, I had a book coach client who went to auction, which was, by the way, great. It went better than expected, I think. It was absolutely awesome. I wish I could share more details, but we did decide as a team with the publisher that the best thing to do is to hold off on announcing this deal until there are pre-order links and a cover, which is obviously going to be a while. So put a pin in that, more on that later. I also made the decision on the writer for my project that I'm developing at the book packager. We have team meetings about it. I had a Zoom call with them, and I am waiting to find out if they're going to officially accept. I hope they do. So I was exhausted Friday night. My brain was like completely fried. Saturday was wonderful. I didn't do any work. Anything that I did that was productive was kind of like life tasks that I had been putting off, like finding a new vet for Rosa since we moved, things like that. But it was a nice break, and I was fully intending for Sunday to be the same. And then Sunday afternoon, kind of out of nowhere, I do not know what sparked this, it just was suddenly in my head, I had an idea for a thriller. Because this is what happens, I think, when we get almost borderline overwhelmed with all of the different writing projects we have to do. Our brain gives us a shiny new idea. I think part of this came from the fact that a few weeks ago I finished the new Ruth Ware book, which is called 0 Days, which I very much enjoyed. Usually Ruth Ware's books tend to be, I would say, mysteries. This one was more like a thriller. It wasn't so much about who did it, although there were twists and turns along the way, as it was almost like The Fugitive, like someone gets themselves into a horrible situation right off the bat and things just get progressively worse and you're just trying to follow along to see how they're going to get out of it. It was a very good listen. I actually did the audiobook. And it got me thinking, I would love to write just a straight ahead thriller like that. That's always been kind of on my general, if I ever come up with an idea, I would like to do it. Well, I think a huge part of the reason that that was really speaking to me is because right now, the challenging thing about revising the middle grade mystery is that it is not a complicated mystery, but it is very tightly plotted. It takes place over the course of 1 week. The word count of the book is 35,000 words, and it's multi-POV. And that multi-POV is what's making it tricky, because every scene, it has to be justified as to why we're in that character's POV for this particular reveal or whatever is happening in the mystery. And it's coming along fine. I've got a good handle on it, and I know I just need to give it a couple hours of good solid work, and I'm gonna be it's not gonna take that long to finish it. But I think part of the reason I have been, well, first of all, my mystery, not middle grade, but just the mystery novel that I wrote last year that was like partially revised and then I haven't talked about it in months. The reason I haven't gone back to that is because it is also multi-POV. And the reason I have not really jumped into my horror novel idea that I was and am still excited about is, again, because that is multi-POV, and I'm thinking maybe I'm having a little bit of multi-POV burnout. And the idea of just picking one person to follow on an adventure has a lot of appeal to me right now. So yesterday, Sunday afternoon, I got a little spark of an idea for a thriller, And it stuck with me enough. I was trying to watch YouTube videos or something and just like not work, but it was getting at me enough that I opened a document, and within an hour I had a title that I really love, a tagline, I'm looking at it, I have the document open here, a very short pitch that I think is very high concept, a few comp titles, like this is what I'm targeting, and the main character just kind of, I was taking Rosa on a walk and she just kind of came into my head fully formed, and a whole lot of plot twists, including the ultimate reveal of who the bad guy really is and why they're doing what they're doing. Not necessarily in order, but I'm pretty sure I can find a good order for them. Just, I don't know, the whole thing fell into place alarmingly fast. And I have learned a whole lot working at this book packager, just in terms of like how to put together a really good, tight, high concept proposal in relatively few words. And I'm trying to apply that here with this idea. Just at this point, it's more of a like almost an exercise. I'm kind of curious. We'll see if I actually want to write this. I'm genuinely not sure yet, but it's really kind of, is it procrastination? Is it just my brain trying to distract me from the work I have to do? Or is it something? I don't know. It might be both. But anyway, that's where I'm at right now on this Monday morning. I've already had, we had a call with our foreign rights agent for the packager this morning just to give updates and things. I had a quick call with my agent to ask him a few questions about the deal that was made last week. And yeah. And now this document is open and it's just kind of staring at me, and so is my calendar with all of the other things I have to do today. Anyway, I think the first order of business today is going to be to polish up the beats for that book packager project, so that if this writer emails me and confirms that they do indeed want to sign on for this project, I can just send it to them and they can hit the ground running. So we're gonna work on that first. So just a few minutes into working on that, and an email popped up from the writer accepting. So yes, hooray, this project is going forward full steam ahead. I'm super excited. So I had to take care of some contacting contracts people, getting information like that all set up. And I made it about halfway through cleaning up the scene beats, but I'm gonna take a little break, take Rosa out before I get back to that. But hooray, great start to the day. All right, that scene's outline is sent to the author, so she is off and running. And I did a few other book packager reading other materials kind of work. And now there is a break in the rain. It's been one of those very Seattle off on misty kind of mornings. And it's about noon. The skies are, well, not clear, but it's not raining, so I think it's time to take Rosa on a walk and get to all the other tasks I have to do later this afternoon. Okay, so it is after 2 o'clock, which means my book packager day is over. I had to call a few more vets. There is like, I guess since the pandemic and a puppy buying pandemic went along with the actual pandemic, I don't know, but apparently just a lot of vets here are not taking new clients, and I had to call so many. I thought I found one over the weekend, and then it turned out that they were not taking new clients at all. But I finally found one, and I finally got Rosa an appointment scheduled because she's due for a few vaccines, so that was a big relief. Anyway, so here's the deal. It's just after 2 o'clock, and I have a call with a ghostwriting client at 4:30. So what I'm gonna do is take a break, and by take a break, I mean probably play with that thriller idea, because that is what it's like being a writer. It's just, I don't know, it's ridiculous. My brain can't rest. I don't know, I really feel like kind of toying with it and seeing what happens. But anyway, tomorrow is Tuesday, and that means I'm gonna be working primarily on the Rebel Girls nonfiction book. And that's going to be taking a lot of research, but it should be really fun. And I think that's really all that's on my schedule tomorrow. And of course, revising my middle grade mystery, which I primarily scheduled for Wednesday. I'm going to see how I do with doing Tuesday, pretty much all Rebel Girls, that whole deep focus thing, see if I can get there. And then Wednesday, all my middle grade mystery, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, time to take a break. So I just sat down to start working, opened my email, and I got a really lovely surprise. I have a Kirkus review for What'll I Do Without You, which is published October 17th. See the link in the description if you'd like to pre-order it. My editor said I need to wait on sharing until it's published, but it's being published this Friday, and that's when this vlog is going up. So that means I can share it right now. Fairy penguins have always been safe on their island off the coast of Western Australia, but something frightening is happening. The tale unfolds in alternating chapters, each focusing on one of the 3 protagonists. 12-year-old homeschooled Addie lives by the beach with her overprotective widower dad and beloved dog, Max. Imaginative and sometimes lonely, she can be impulsive and daring, especially if her beloved sea creatures are at risk. Fortunately, Addie finds like-minded friends and mentors through her youth environmental group. Max follows Addie closely, bringing his own special canine abilities and insights and overcoming his fears to help protect the penguins they befriend. Then there's tiny penguin Darwin, a misfit and loner who's the first to recognize the escalating dangers to his colony. Though he has difficulty communicating his concerns to the other penguins, he's determined to find a solution. Climate change is contributing to the ability of predator foxes to reach the island via a path newly opened by extreme low tides, putting the vulnerable fairy penguins in peril. Each chapter overlaps just a bit with clues and epiphanies that move the action forward slowly at first, later building to a rapid, heart-stopping crescendo. Aided by Addie's TikTok videos, an international community of viewers, and a strategy generated by Addie, Max, and Darwin, the colony is saved, at least for now. Despite being of different species, the protagonists are devoted to each other, and their cause will capture readers' hearts. Complex, timely, and deeply moving. Well, first of all, thank you, Kirkus. That makes me really happy. It's so nice to get a good review. And second of all, the deeply moving reminded me of when I think it was 2 of my friends who were authors several years ago each got reviews for their books around the same time. I want to say one was Kirkus and one was Publishers Weekly. Anyway, both reviews were good, but they used the phrase surprisingly deep, which we all found hilarious because does that not sound kind of like a backhanded compliment? Like, I thought this was gonna be shallow, but it's surprisingly deep. Anyway, it just made me laugh. But what a great review. So what a nice way to start the day. I think what I'm gonna do is I had that call with my client yesterday at 4:30, and we talked through Act 1, made some decisions, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get to work on that, clean up Act 1 of the outline, sketch out some ideas for Act 2 so we can work on building that and send it to her. That'll be task 1 for today. Wednesday was cool and drizzly and kind of the perfect day to just focus on my middle grade mystery revision. I prioritize that over all of my other work because I rarely do that. And you know, it needs to get done. I mean, it's already, you know, close to mid-August and I want to get this thing on submission in the fall, so the clock was ticking. There was no live stream. We usually have a live stream Wednesdays, but we did not have one yesterday. So the first thing I did was, last time I vlogged about this, I had restructured finally the first 5 chapters to move the catalyst earlier into the book. So now it happens in chapter 2 instead of chapter 5. And I went into my Word document and I kind of Frankenstein together both like copying and pasting things that I wanted to keep, but then adding summaries, kind of like zero drafting the stuff that I knew I needed to add, and just so I could see it all together, because honestly, having the first 5 chapters printed out when I knew they were going to undergo such a big rewrite, it was just kind of throwing me off. So I went ahead and did that, and then I printed those out and added that to the rest of the manuscript and got to work. Just kind of hunkered down in the office while it was all nice and rainy outside and went through it, looking at my edit letter and thinking of, like, considering all of the other notes they gave me that wasn't about the big note being that the catalyst needed to happen sooner. So the other notes were things like, you know, some of the things felt a little too young for this particular age of middle grade that I'm going to. And just making sure that it's like clearly aimed at a age 9 to 12 middle of the road middle grade and not skewing a little bit towards chapter book, and making sure that there's one reveal at the end. It's kind of a red herring thing, and when you learn the truth, I think it's very funny, and my agents thought it was very funny too, but they were like, just make sure you set it up so that it doesn't seem unrealistic that this is the case. Things like that. So just like planting little seeds, much easier, lighter revision things than, you know, the restructuring I had to do for the beginning. And I spent the afternoon curled up in bed with Rosa, the best revising companion, and I finished it. So it's all, the revision is done on paper. And now all I have left to do is put it into the manuscript, into the Word document, and send it off to my agents, which I'm gonna try to do this weekend. And now it's Thursday, and it's a book packager day, and I have, you know, a writer for my project, and she is off and running and writing. So obviously I'm here if she pings me via email to like ask any questions. I'll be here for that, but this is kind of crazy. The project is like kind of out of my hands for right now, which is wild because I have been working on that thing for months. So now that means that I can kind of turn my attention to my back burner project. We always try to have like a project that we're kind of on the front burner developing, and then a project that's kind of waiting on the back burner that we can work on days like this where there's nothing to do on the front burner project. The back burner project, oh my gosh. There's something special about this project. I'm gonna have to be all mysterious and annoying because I can't tell you guys what it is yet, but oh, I really love this one. It's like getting to work on something that is almost like a childhood dream come true. One day I will be able to explain this, but anyway, I have already developed a log line and a long pitch and like kind of key selling points and ideas for this book that the team has approved of, and they feel very solid. So the next step is going to be to just kind of like start creating a beat sheet and working on that. And just in other news, that thriller idea, it's not letting go. I have been picking at it. The document has not been closed for the last week. I pick at it in the evenings when I'm supposed to be, you know, watching shows or reading. I'm currently reading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I know I'm kind of late to the party on that. If you've read it, let me know what you think. I'm enjoying it so far. And I'm watching The After Party on Apple TV. Let me know if you have watched that show, because I feel like people are sleeping on that. I had not heard of it at all. And the cast is amazing, and it's very funny, but also just like a fun murder mystery. Anyway, yeah, so that's what I'm doing at night, but I keep hitting pause or like closing Kindle for a second and going back to this document and like adding more ideas. I can't stop working on it. So that's where that is. I think this thriller thing is here to stay and I'm gonna keep working on it, so hey. Alright, so I finished up my book packager work for the day. After 2 o'clock, started working a little bit more on the Rebel Girls project and hit that 5,000 word target. So I think right now I'm just gonna take a little break and probably play with that thriller idea later. And Friday this vlog will go up, but I'll be doing book packager stuff and spending this weekend getting those changes implemented from the hard copy of the mystery book into the Word document so that I can send that to my agent. I'm gonna go ahead and send it now. I wanna send that book to my agent by the end of next week because I would really love to get this thing on submission. Let's go already. So anyway, that's gonna be it for this vlog. Hope you guys are having a good one. Let me know how your projects are going down below and I'll see you next week with another video. Bye.